Hi everybody, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I've got a great project for you today. Let's take a look at this quilt behind me. Isn't this a fun quilt? This is a fun little block, and you're gonna love how I made it. I'm calling it Jumpin' Jack because it looks like you're doing the jumpin' jacks. You remember doing those when you were kids? We used to have PE. We even had to dress out in PE clothes. It's a whole new world out there now. So to make this quilt, what you're gonna need is 2 packs of printed 5-inch squares, and we are using Little Sprouts 2 by Kimberbell Designs for Maywood Studios, and it is flannel. So it's real soft and cuddly and flannel. For your background squares, you're going to need little squares of white, and we've just used a cone of solid in there and 5-inch squares again, and you're going to need 2 packs of print and 2 packs of solid. For this inner border right here, this little 2.5-inch inner border, you're going to need a 1/2 yard, and it's going to be 6 2.5-inch cuts. Your outer border is going to be 1 yard, and it's going to be 6 5-inch strips. And on the back, we've put more flannel to make this really cuddly. And this is a little tiny print of a little florals with yellow on it. It's so cute. And you're going to need 3.5 yards to back this. And that's just because of the length and the width. It's going to make a quilt that is 55 by 69. So it's a great quilt for a crib or a baby size. All right, so let's talk about how we're going to do this because this is really, really fun. This is the block we're shooting for, and it's made out of 4 charms that are the same. Now you'll notice that we're using flannel and a regular quilting cotton on here. Now there's 2 things that happen that we have to worry about. One is the shrinkage factor. So with flannel, flannel does tend to shrink a little more, and you do not want to pre-wash your pre-cuts. So what you're looking for with flannel is you're looking for a tighter weave. The tighter your flannel is woven, the less it shrinks. So you want to kind of hold it up to the light and see if you can see any light peeking through. If you can't, then it's a tighter weave and it will shrink less. So that's what we're looking for with the flannel. The other thing I think that's cool about using a flannel with a cotton is the texture difference. You know, babies love that texture and the different feeling. And I mean, I just think that's a really fun thing. I'm really happy that we did that. So let me show you how to make this block. So we're going to take 1 printed square and 1 flannel square, and I'm going to iron or draw a line diagonally corner to corner, and that's going to be my sew line. So can you see that line? You know, you can always take a little pen and draw it too. I'll do that real quick just so you can see what I'm talking about here. Out of this 5-inch square, we're going to make 2 half-square triangles, and there I've drawn a little line. And now I'm just going to go to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew 1/4 inch on either side of that line. All right, so we're over here. I'm going to line my presser foot up with my line because I know that it's 1/4 inch. You'll want to measure. Make sure yours is 1/4 inch. What we're shooting for here is 2 blocks that are going to be 4.5. Now my blocks are going to probably end up a little bit bigger, and we'll have to square them down. So now I'm just going to cut on this line, and we're going to head over to the ironing board and press these down. I like to press right on the seam line, relaxes my fabric, and then I'm just going to iron that back, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to set this on here, give that a shot of steam, and just roll this back. There we go. All right. Now, half of our blocks, it takes 4 blocks to make this, and half of our blocks have to go one direction and half go the other. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn my 2 4.5-inch triangles like this, and actually first I got to square them up. I got ahead of myself a little bit, so got to make sure they're 4.5. Ooh, this one is really close. Barely off over here. All right. So that one's pretty good. And let me check this one. I'm using a block lock ruler that has the little center line that's kind of shaved, so it just locks into that seam, makes it easy. That one was a little bit bigger. It is important that they're 4.5. So now we're going to set these So they're running different directions. This is going to be opposite directions. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this block right here, and it's 4.5 now, and we're going to divide that in half because we are going to make one cut right down the side. So we're going to, half of 4.5 is 2 1/4. So I'm going to come in 2 1/4, and we're going to cut right down the middle here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece here and we're going to put it over on this side. Just looks like a little boot like that. Isn't that cool? And then we're going to do the same thing on this. We're going to come over and we're going to cut that 4.5, 2 1/4, and then we're just going to swap this around so it makes a little boot. So we want our boots to go out like this, our little feet to go out to the sides. So that's why we have to cut one way and one the other way. And so we're going to sew these together right here, these little edges. We're just going to sew 1/4 inch right down the side, but make sure you got them together as a boot. I might have should have called this the Italy quilt because it's got that little boot look to it. But to me it just looked like jumping jacks. Now I'm going to grab that other one and sew it down as well. And you're going to make 4 of those. All right, so now I'm going to press these open. Oh, better relax that a little bit. And then this one too. All right. So here's 2, and I have 2 made over here, and they're going to go this way. So you see how that little block's going to go together? Now we're going to put it together just like a 4 patch. So we're going to sew these 2 and these 2, and we'll go to the sewing machine and we'll just chain piece these together. There we go. And then you'll see, because of the way I chain piece these together, they're ready to put right together as a block right now. I don't even have to clip them apart. I'm just going to fold them over and sew them down. Now I am feeling for my seams, and because the flannel is a little bit more bulky, you're going to want to make sure that your seams kind of nest up and lay one of your seams going that way and one going this way, and that will make for lesser bulk in your seams. There we go. Now we get to press this open. Wasn't that easy and quick? From a little half square triangle. I love half square triangles. They're so versatile. There's so many things you can do. Alrighty. Let me clip some of these threads off of here. And then we get to put our quilt together. Now this quilt is put together just in rows. There's no sashing, and let's see what we got here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6 by 7, 42. And so you're just going to sew them together like this. And watch how these come together. And it's going to make this little diamond thing in the middle. And you're just going to sew them together just like that. When you do your next row on the next one, you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to line them up. Isn't that so cute? It's just from such an easy block, the half square triangle that we've cut in half, and just move the piece to the other side so it makes a little boot shape. So again, I'm calling it Jumping Jacks. I just think it's a darling quilt, really easy project, and we hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the Jumping Jack quilt from the Missouri Star Quilt Company.